Let me see. Here you go. Check this out. Look at y'all see that? Look at her eyes. And the lady and somebody said it's so strange when she talks, she doesn't even blink. Right? And she would do these weird poses to try to be like the next Steve Jobs, and she would wear all black, and she sounded really good in the interview. And they just saw her as the next billion-dollar genius. So because people had so much faith and belief in her look, right? A black person could never have gotten away with this. A black man could never have gotten away with this. They literally, I think, gave her about $8 billion for her company. $8 billion. She did not have any proof of concept because her product did not work. She was pretending to be able to run all these tests on like tiny amounts of blood. And what got her busted was there were biologists at leading universities who said this is not possible. Like there's no way she could do this. And so what she would do is she would just basically say, "Well, our technology is proprietary." But they were like, "No, dude, I'm a leading researcher at Stanford. I know that this can't be done." And, and so even though people issued those warning flags, because she's this charismatic white woman who didn't blink and looked like Steve Jobs, people would just throw money at her. And it took a really long time for her fraud to be unearthed because nobody was suspicious in the first place. And so her experience as an entrepreneur, if you want to know how to end it, she ended up going to prison. Her experience, in my view, is the exact opposite of the experience of a black man, right? So for her, it's like, no, you got to be innocent until we prove you guilty 10 times over. In many cases, for black men, it's like, no, you're guilty even if you prove yourself innocent 10 times over. So myself, as a black man pretending to be a PhD, right? If I make one mistake, it's like, "See, told you that nigga didn't know what he's talking about. He said that stock was gonna go up and it went down. That's why he don't know what he don't know what he's doing, right? That's the black tax." And I wrote about this a lot. Actually, I wrote a book called "What If George Bush Were a Black Man" many years, 20 years ago, and that's what I talked about. It's not just the blatant discrimination; it's the margin of error being so freaking thin, and then that's why I get squeamish and upset when somebody really does do something problematic in business. Somebody does actually scam or hurt people because it's like, oh man, now this only confirms the pre-existing bias that we have against ourselves and against each other. So really this whole wealth thing is not for the faint of heart. It's really, really difficult to do. And one of the biggest things about the whole wealth building process is at the very least, you have to prepare yourself to be part of what I call the talented 10th, in the sense that I'm not talking about education or money. I'm talking about in terms of tenacity, right? Being black and being committed to black causes and being black first and riding the black bus is not for weak ass people. It's not. You cannot be faint of heart and do this. You cannot be somebody who gives up easily and do this. Because if you're trying to build business in the black community, you're building just like you're growing a garden in the middle of the desert. You got to be a damn good gardener, and you got to be real committed to trying to grow whatever you can. You're building a black family where undiagnosed, untreated trauma is everywhere. Like seriously, think about that. I want to ask you, how many of you have had things happen in your family that just were just so nightmarishly ridiculous that you can't even think about it without just getting pissed off and throwing up. Like wait, so my daddy was on crack, and then my mama became a hooker, and my sister was on drugs and tried to stab my brother in front of me, and then my uncle went to jail, and then we didn't have no food.